Hello everyone, welcome to Sara Stories. This time I'm starting a new series called the 17 SDG Stories. Now this is the month of September, and in the month of September the SDGs were accepted as a part of the goals until 2030. SDGs are sustainable developmental goals which are accepted by the United Nations, and the members who are a part of United Nations to make sure that that nation develops in a sustainable way. So there are 17 goals, and these 17 goals I'm going to tell through stories. So today is the first one, the first SDG, which is no poverty. So I'm going to share a story from ancient Indian history, and this is the story of Shalivahana. Once upon a time, there was a woman called Gautami who had lost her husband, and she had been kicked out of her house by her brothers-in-law. So her little son Shatakarni asked, "Mother, where are we going? What do we have? We have nothing. We have just this one bundle of belongings." The mother said, "Okay, let's not give up hope. We'll go wherever fate takes us." And both of them start walking, and poor little Shatakarni is very tired. And as he walks, he sees this potter working with his wheel. And he runs towards him and says, "Dada, what are you doing?" The potter says, "I'm making pots. Do you not know the art of pottery?" Shatakarni says, No, but will you let me stay here? I'll learn from you. I would love to do something like this." The widow said that, "Shatakarni, come on son, we have a long way to go." But the potter called her in and said, "You look very tired, Devi, tell me your story." And she was so overwhelmed by the kindness shown by a stranger because her own family had thrown her out. So out of abject poverty, she told her story, and the potter said, "Why don't you stay with me? The young boy can learn a trade which will help him." And the lady was so grateful. She was very poor, and she had taken the invitation to stay with the potter. Now years passed, and Shatakarni was learning to work with the wheel, learning to work with the potter, and the potter was very happy with his work when one day a sadhu walked in, and he looked at Shatakarni and he said, "This boy is going to be a king one day." And Shatakarni was amazed at the words. He took them very seriously, and he began to work on clay models of horses, elephants, soldiers. And the potter said, "Wow, this is so beautiful. Why don't you play with them?" Shatakarni said, "No, I'm going to store these, and one day when I'm king, these will come handy." And he stores them in a well, which is dry. Now Shatakarni has grown up, and he goes out with his friends every day, and they roam around when they hear that a merchant from the village is going to be attacked. So Shatakarni makes a plan with his friends to go and overthrow the bandits. And they go with lathis, and they hide in bushes, and they follow the guerrilla warfare. And they jump out of bushes and take the bandits unaware. And that's how Shatakarni becomes the leader of the gang, because he is the one who is directing all these movements. They set up regular patrols for the villages, and now the merchants are so happy that they make Shatakarni and his gang the regular patroller, and they patronize them. They give them arms and horses and swords, and Shatakarni and his gang make a very good patrol. Now Shatakarni sits on a branch of a shali tree and says, "I'm the leader, I'm the king." And all the boys say, "Yes, you are our leader, you are Shalivahana." And that's how Shatakarni gets a new name. Now Shalivahana is patrolling the villages with his gang every day. One day the bandits say that this boy is going to get us out of our business. We have to do something. So they go dressed as merchants. They go to the king, Nahapana, and they say that, "Sir, there is a potter in the village, and he is going to overthrow you, and that's his plan." And the king is very insecure of his position. So he says, "What? Really? I can't let that happen. Let's go. Now the boys are very worried because they are just a handful and the king has a huge army. So they have to plan something. So they work on their own guerrilla warfare. They hide in the bushes, and when the king comes, he says, oh, there's nobody here. Probably the boys got scared of such a huge army. But all of them jump out of the bushes, and the king is overthrown. The king dies in battle, and Shalivahana, true as the sage said, becomes a king. And once he becomes a king, he's a very just ruler. He rules very well. And finally, he's going on a tour of his kingdom when he visits an ashram. And he sees a beautiful girl. And he asks the owner of the ashram, who is she? And the owner of the ashram, the sage, says that she is Naganika, she is a disciple, and she is the daughter of a tribal chief. And the king is mesmerized, so he marries her. But once when they are having fun, the queen uses a beautiful pun which the king fails to understand because he is not learned in Sanskrit. When the queen says, it's okay, I love you as you are, the king does not get over the humiliation, and he asks his scholars to teach him Sanskrit. So the king has become a good ruler, he has married a beautiful woman, he has learned Sanskrit, and as his fame spreads across in the kingdom, in a neighboring kingdom of Ujjaini, there is a king called Vikramaditya, the great king Vikramaditya, and he calls a fortune teller. The fortune teller says that you are a great king, but you will be killed by a potter king. Now Vikramaditya is very worried. He says, I'll be killed by a potter king. How? And he tells his spy Vetal to go and look for this king. Vetal goes everywhere. Vetal is a very good wrestler. He goes everywhere. And he comes to the kingdom of Shalivahana. He challenges the king because he's a potter king. So he challenges the king to come and fight. And when Shalivahana fights against Vetal, Shalivahana wins. And in no time, Vetal is defeated. Vetal knows this is the man who is going to lead to the end of his king. He goes back to his king and he said, I was routed in a matter of minutes. Vikramaditya is very worried. He gathers his huge army and they all march to Shalivahana's kingdom. And when they go, there is a vast army, Vikramaditya's men and Shalivahana's men, a few handful. The fight is ensuing. Shalivahana's men are fighting very bravely, but they are losing the battle. And that's when a few men from Shalivahana's army go to the villages and they say that our king needs our help. As many men who can join should join. And from various spaces, men start coming into the battlefield and attacking Vikramaditya's army from every side. Vikramaditya does not know what happens. And Shalivahana says, who are these men? I don't know them. They are not my army. He thinks that it must be those soldiers I created and kept in the well. They have come to life. And as the battle goes on, Vikramaditya is slain and Shalivahana wins the battle. Shalivahana is the king now of his own place and Ujjaini, the huge kingdom. And finally, Shalivahana establishes a peaceful rule over every kingdom that he has ruled on. And this is celebrated as the Kannada New Year. So there was a man, Shalivahana, in abject poverty who was spurned by his family, but he still came out of it by his own strength, prowess, quick thinking, and his hard work. He established a kingdom and ruled for a long time, and he was a very, very important figure in ancient Indian history. Because under his rule, the Brihat Katha by Gunadhar in Payashchi language was established, was published, and was popularized. So I hope you liked this story. If you did like it, please subscribe to my channel. The red button is right here. Please like and comment. And if you like this kind of content, you should also tell me that. And we're going to have 16 more stories coming up next few days consecutively. So I'll see you there. Please stay tuned to my channel and watch all the stories. And you can also visit my website www.saras-stories.in. And I'll see you soon tomorrow.